Hello, everybody. Today's lesson 3.7, estimate decimal sums and differences. And basically, our essential question that we should be able to answer it by the end of our lesson today is how can you estimate decimal sums, addition, right, and differences, subtraction? So, how can we estimate? And we're on page 135 of the fifth grade Go Math textbook. All right, so let's look at the unlock the problem. A singer is recording a CD. The lengths of the three songs are 3.4 minutes, 2.78 minutes, and 4.19 minutes. About how much recording time will be on the CD? All right, well, we can use rounding to estimate, okay? And one way is to round to the nearest whole number. All right, so 3.4. So I want to round to the 3, the ones place. I look to the digit to the right, and it's less than 5, so I round down, which means basically keep the digit the same that we're rounding to. 2.78, we want to round to the 2, look to the digit to the right, which is 7. It's 5 or greater, so we'll round up to 3. 4 and 19 hundredths, circle the 4, underline the digit to the right, it's less than 5, so round down. Now just add. 3 and 3 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. So there will be about 10 minutes of recording time on the CD. Okay, and remember this is just the general rules for rounding. So if the digit to the right is less than 5, the digit in the rounding place stays the same. If the digit to the right is 5 or greater, the digit in the rounding place increases by 1. Okay. All right, let's try this. Use rounding to estimate. Round to the nearest whole dollar, then subtract. So the $27.95. $27, the 7 is in the one whole dollar spot. Okay, so let's look at the 9 to the right. That's greater than 5. So we'll round up to $28. $11.72. We want to round to the second one, the $1, and look to the right, the 7 tenths. That's greater than 5, so let's round up to 12. Now subtract. 28, 8 take away 2, leaves me 6 ones, and 2 tens take away 1 10 is 1 10. So about $16. All right, but what if it was said round to the nearest $10? Okay, well, we have the same numbers, but this time we want to circle the tens place. So circle the 2, look to the digit to the right, 5 or greater, round up. Less than 5, keep the digit that you circled the same. So round up. So we have $30. And we want to round $11.72 to the nearest $10. Look to the digit to the right, it's less than 5, so keep the digit that we circled the same. So 10. So 30 take away 10 is 20. So to the nearest $10, it's about $20. Now, why is that important? Why do you think they're trying to tell us that we're round to the nearest whole dollar or to the nearest $10? Well, this might be what we call an underestimate. It might be a lower value. This might be considered an overestimate. Okay, so in the appropriate tools, do you want an overestimate or an underestimate when you estimate the total cost of items you want to buy? And explain. Okay, so here when you're buying something, you want to have an overestimate because what if you underestimate? You're going to wind up with possibly not having enough money. So if we overestimate, if we go to the higher value, and we have that amount of money in our pocket or wallet, then we're certain we have enough. So I would do an overestimate. So that would make sure that we have enough money to buy the items. Okay. All right, 136. Okay, we can also and estimate sums and differences by using benchmark values. And so we have 4 values that we can use. 0, in other words, the number that we have, is it closer to 0? Is it closer to 25 hundredths? Is it closer to 50 hundredths or 75 hundredths? And finally 1. So actually 5 values, right? So let's look at this one. Use benchmarks to estimate 18 hundredths plus 43 hundredths. So if we have a number line and we go from 0 to 1, our benchmarks would be here: 25 hundredths, 50 hundredths, 75 hundredths, 1. So 18 hundredths would go right about there, right? Well, it's closer to 25 hundredths than it is to 0, right? So we would use the 25 hundredths benchmark. So it's between 0 and 25 hundredths, but closer to 25 hundredths. The second digit, 43 hundredths. Well, where's 43 hundredths? 43 hundredths is before 50 hundredths. Each of these tick marks are worth 5 hundredths. 25 hundredths, 30 hundredths, 35 hundredths, 40 hundredths, 45 hundredths, 50 hundredths. For 43 hundredths, then, would be right about there. Okay? So it is between 25 hundredths and 50 hundredths. Which one is it closer to? It's closer to 50 hundredths. So using benchmarks, we're going to change 18 hundredths to 25 hundredths. We're going to change 43 hundredths to 50 hundredths. Well, this is the same as a quarter, right? The money value quarter, 25 cents, and this is 50 cents. So 3/4 is 75 cents. So 18 hundredths plus 43 hundredths is about 75 hundredths. All right, example 2, use benchmarks again. So use benchmarks to estimate 76 hundredths, take away 22 hundredths. So where would 76 hundredths be on this number line? Well, I know it's between 75 hundredths and 1. So it's between 75 hundredths and 1. Which one is it closer to? Well, it's going to be right there, right? Barely past. I'm going to write that right there. So it's closer to 75 hundredths. Now, what about 22 hundredths? 22 hundredths is less than 25 hundredths. So it's going to be right about there. Okay. So 22 hundredths is between 0 and 25 hundredths, but it's closer to 25 hundredths. So what are the benchmarks we're using? we're going to use 75 hundredths, take away 25 hundredths. Okay, so if we're going to subtract these decimals, we want to line up our decimal point and just go right to left. 5 hundredths, take away 5 hundredths, leaves you 0 hundredths. 7 tenths, take away 2 tenths, is 5 tenths. 0 ones, take away 0 ones, is 0. So 50, 0.50, or 1/2. Okay, fairly straightforward. All right, so let's look at page 137. Use rounding to estimate. All right, well, let's just round to the nearest 1. So that's 2. That's 2. And that's 5. Okay, so these are the places we're rounding to. We look to the digit to the right. This one's less than 5, keep it the same. This one's greater than 5, the underlying digit is greater than 5, so we round up 1. The digit to the right of the 5 is 2, which is less than 5, so keep the ones the same. Just add. 2 and 2 is 4, 5 and 4 is 9. Ten and 39 hundredths. Let's round to the ones again. Both the digits to the right of the place value we want to round to is less than 5, so we're going to round down on both of them. So 10 take away 4. Well, what's 10 take away 4? 6. Okay, number 3. Okay, we want to round to the nearest 1. Well, that's greater than 5, but if I have 1 to 9, that gives me 10. So I actually have to add the extra 1 to the tens. So we actually have 20. $19.75 is closer to $20. And we're going to add $3.98. That's closer to $4. So if we add that together, we get about $24. Number 4, use benchmarks to estimate. So 0.34, that's in between 0.25 and 0.50. Well, it's only 9 hundredths away from 25, right? 25 plus 9 is 34, which means it's closer to 25 hundredths. 1/10, so that's 0 or 0.25. Well, it's closer to 0, so I'm just going to use a value of 0. And 0.25, that's already there. Right, so add those up. 5 and 5 is 10 hundredths. Regroup that as 1/10 and 0 hundredths. 2 tenths plus 2 tenths plus 1/10 is 5 tenths. So 0.5. Number 10. All right, so I know 1039 is in between 1025 and 1050. It's closer to 1050. 10 and 50 hundredths. Take away 4 and 28 hundredths. Well, that's in between 4.0. I'm sorry, 4 and 25 hundredths and 4 and 50 hundredths. Well, clearly closer to 0.25. Okay. Well, let's use 4 and 25 hundredths. Okay, subtract. You can't take 5/100ths from no hundredths, so we have to regroup from the tenths. We're going to exchange the 10 tenths for 10/100ths. Now we can subtract. 10/100ths take away 5/100ths, 5/100ths. 4/10ths take away 2/10ths, 2/10ths. I can't take 4 from $0, so I'm going to regroup from the tens. 10 ones take away 4 is 6. 6 and 25/100ths. All right, number 6. Use rounding to estimate. Now, it's possible to get different estimates on these because it depends on which place value you round to. Some people will round to the nearest 1. Some will round to the nearest tenth. So if I was rounding to the nearest 1, I would change 93/100ths to 1, and I would change 0 and 18/100ths to 0. Okay. And then I would add that, I get 1. If I was rounding to the nearest tenth, so in that case, we'd circle the 9 and the 1 and underline the digits to the right. 93/100ths would stay as 9/10ths, and 18/100ths would become 2/10ths. If we add that together, we get 1.1. So either way, it was about 1 or about 1 and 1/10. All right, number 7. If we round to the nearest 1, that would be 7 take away 4. So 3. Some might have an estimate of if you round to the nearest tenths, you'd have 7.4 take away 3.9. You can't take 9/10ths from 4/10ths, so you take one of the ones and trade it for 10/10ths. Now 14/10ths take away 9/10ths, 5/10ths, and 6 take away 3, 3.5. So we'd have about 3 or 3.5. This symbol means about. All right, number 8. If I rounded to the ones place, the digit to the right of the 4 is 5 or greater, so round up 1. 9 is greater than 5, so the place value 9, the value of 9 would increase by 1, so 10. Subtract, we get 5. If we rounded to the nearest tenth, that's what that would look like, and we'd have 14.7 take away 9.9. Okay, so the digit to the right of the 9 is less than 5, so round down to 9.9. And 14.68, the 8's greater than 5, so round the 6/10ths up to 7/10ths. You can't take 9/10ths from 7/10ths, so we still have to regroup and give 10/10ths from the 1. 17/10ths take away 9/10ths is 8/10ths. You can't take 9 ones from 3 ones, so we exchange one of the 10s for 10 ones. 13 take away 9 is 4. So 4 and 8/10ths, or about 5. Which one was the quickest one to do? The 15 take away 10. Use benchmarks to estimate. So 12.41, that's in between 12.25 and 12.50. Well, that's closer to 12.50. 647, that's in between 6.25 and 6.50. It's closer to 6.5. So 12.50 take away 6.50. 0 hundredths take away 0 hundredths is 0. 5 tenths take away 5 tenths is 0. You can't take 6 ones from 2 ones, so regroup from the tens place. Give 10 ones to the ones. 12 take away 6 is 6. So 6.00. Number 10. 8.12, that's in between 8.0 and 8.25. It's really, really close to both sides, but it's actually a little closer to 0. To go from 12 to 0 would be backing up 12 spaces. To go from 12 to 25, you'd be jumping forward 13. So it's a difference of 1. But okay, so about 8. And 5.52, we know that's between 5.50 and 5.75. It's closer to 5.5. Okay, add those together. 13 and a half. Number 11. Well, this one's already at a benchmark. 3 and 47 hundredths. That's between 3 and 25 hundredths and 3 and 50 hundredths. It's closer to 3 and 50 hundredths. Subtract 5 take away 0 hundredths, 5 hundredths. 7 tenths take away 5 tenths, 2 tenths. 9 ones take away 3 ones, 6 ones. 6 and 25 hundredths. All right, number 12. Okay, I'm just going to round to the nearest one. It says we can use rounding or benchmark, so there could be a variety of different answers for this. Well, I did that backwards. Sorry about that, guys. Let me rewrite it. I want to be consistent. So we're going to round to the nearest one whole. So 12 and 83 hundredths. The digit to the right of the 2 is 8, which is greater than 5, so I'm going to round up to 13. 16 and 24 hundredths. I want to round to the 6. The 2 is less than 5, so I'm going to keep the 6 the same. All right, so 6 ones and 3 ones, that's 9, and 1 and 1 is 2, so 29. 26 and 92, $26.92. Take away $11.13. I want to round to the nearest $1. All right, so 26 and 92 hundredths. We want to round to the 6. The 9 is greater than 5, so 27. Take away. I want to round to the second one, and the 1 in the ones place. The digit to the right in the tenths is less than 5, so I'm going to keep the 11 the same. All right, subtract. 7 take away 1 is 6. 2 tenths take away 1 tenth is 1. So $16. And 14. 9.41 plus 3.82. Okay, I can round 9 and 41 hundredths to 9, and 3 and 82 hundredths. The 8's greater than 5, so round the 3 up by 1. Add those together, 9 and 4, we get about 13. Okay. If you rounded, if you use benchmarks, you might have slightly different estimates than me. That doesn't mean it's incorrect. All right, 15. Estimate to compare, write less than or greater than. 2 and 74 hundredths plus 4 and 22 hundredths. So I'm going to round both sides to the nearest 1. So 2 and 74 is 3. 4 and 22 hundredths is 4, so that's 7. 3 and 113 and 13 hundredths gets rounded to 3. 1 and 87 hundredths gets rounded to 2. So 7 compared to 5. 7's greater than 5. 6 and 25 hundredths take away 2 and 39 hundredths. So 6 take away 2. So my estimate is 4 on this side. 9 and 79 hundredths, I'd round to 10. 3 and 84 hundredths, I'd round to 4. 10 take away 4 is 6. So 4 is less than 6. All right, 17. Use the table to show your work. So it says top songs, ranking 1, 2, 3, 4, the name of the song, and how long the song lasted. So each of the songs was 2 minutes or more, and they were all less than 3 minutes. All right, for the week of April 4th, 1964, the Beatles had the top 4 songs. About how long would it take to listen to these 4 songs? Okay, so 2.30 plus 2.5 plus 2 and 75 hundredths plus 2. Well, let's just quickly round, right? So if I round to the nearest 1 on each of them, okay, the digit to the right of the 2 in the first one is less than 5, so keep it 2. 2.5, that's 5 or greater, so round up by 1. In the next one, 7 is greater than 5, so round up to 3. And then 2 is just 2. All right, now add them. 3 and 2 is 5. 3 and 2 is 5. 5 and 5 is 10. So about 10 minutes to listen to the 4 songs. 18. Isabel says she can listen to the first 3 songs in the table in 6 minutes. So she's saying 2.30. And it says, what's the error? 2.30, 2.50, 2.75. Well, those show that they're all greater than 2 minutes, right? So it has to be more than 6 minutes. So it should be more than. Each of the songs last longer than 2 minutes. So the total time should be more than 6 minutes. Tracy ran a lap around a track in 74.2 seconds. Malcolm ran a lap in 65 and 92 hundredths seconds. Estimate the difference. So 74.2 74.2. Take away, it said estimate the difference. All right. So if we wanted to just know about how fast they finished, we can round to the nearest whole second. 74.2, the 2 is less than 5, so round down to 74. And 65 and 92 hundredths, the 9 is greater than 5, so round up to 66. Well, we can't take 6 from 4, so let's regroup. 14 take away 6 is 8. 6 take away 6 is 0, so about 8 seconds. All right, 20. Nutrition. Your body needs protein to build and repair cells. You should get a new supply of protein each day. The average 10-year-old needs 35 grams of protein daily. You can find protein in foods like meat, vegetables, and dairy products. And so here in the table, we have 4 different types of food and the amount of protein in grams. All right, so use estimation to solve. Gina had a scrambled egg, a cup of low-fat milk, and a cup of low-fat milk for breakfast. She had an oat bran muffin for the morning snack. About how many more grams? So that's going to be a clue that I'm going to have to subtract. So about how many more? So let's figure out scrambled egg and a cup of low-fat milk. Scrambled egg is 6.75, and a cup of low-fat milk is 8 and 22 hundredths. Well, I can use a benchmark on this one. Okay. So 6 and 75 hundredths, that's 75 hundredths is already a benchmark. 8 and 22 hundredths, the 22 hundredths is really close to 25 hundredths. So let's add that. 5 hundredths plus 5 hundredths is 10 hundredths. Trade that for 1/10 and 0 hundredths. 7 and 2 is 9, plus 1 more is 10 tenths. We'll rewrite that as 1/1 and 0 tenths. 8 and 6 is 14, and 1 more is 15. So she had 15 grams for breakfast. How many more? Her oat bran was 3.99. Well, if we round that to the nearest 1, that would be 4. So about 11 grams more. Okay. All we did was round the oat bran to 4 and then subtract to find the difference between the breakfast and the snack. And 21. Pablo had a cup of shredded wheat cereal, a cup of low-fat milk, and one other item. He had about 21 grams of protein. What was the third item? Okay. All right, so shredded wheat, 5.56 grams. He also had a cup of low-fat milk, 8 and 22 hundredths. So let's figure out how much that was. If we round it to the nearest 1, that would be 6. And 8 and 22 hundredths would round to 8. 8 and 6 is 14. So 21 take away 14. 7. So is there an item in the table that is about 7 grams? Yeah, the scrambled egg, right? The scrambled egg is closest to 7. So Pablo had a scrambled egg as his third item. All right, so that's it for lesson 3.7. In our next lesson, we'll actually practice adding decimals. like you would traditionally see. So until then, I will see you soon.